I think a lot of you already know this story, but this YouTube channel, didn't really start to take off, quote-unquote, until 2017-2018. That was my senior year in high school. That is when I decided, okay, I'm going into radio broadcasting as a college education. I was ditching the statistics because I was really good at pre-calculus, and my teacher in grade 12 was actually super upset that I wasn't taking AP calculus because I got like 99% in pre-cal or whatever. And so I made the decision to go from mathematics to radio broadcasting and media in general in my senior year. That's when I started making YouTube videos, and that's kind of when the videos got a consistent enough viewer base to the point that I could say that making videos was actually a pretty beneficial and somewhat good use of my time. Back then, though, the biggest problem that this Vancouver Canucks fan had to face, that he would very frequently rant about in his videos, aside from Matthew Barzal being better than Boeser in the Calder voting, was Brock Boeser on the power play. Because the biggest problem for Canucks fans was not the fact that Boeser himself was on the power play. Nah. He was a good player. He was a rookie. He had all these good goals and he had all these moments. But the biggest problem for Canucks fans in this time frame was 100% the fact that Alex Edler, who just scored his 100th career goal last night, by the way, would never pass to Brock Boeser. Edler and Boeser, these two never connected on any passes, and because Edler was the guy at the top of the umbrella, the power play with the Sedins, it pretty much flowed entirely through Edler. Every time he would take the puck, he would always send it over to the right side where Daniel Sedin was, or he would take a screenshot that would eventually get blocked by somebody's shin pads. Now, Edler's numbers in 2017-2018 were not really all too bad, but this team was still a poor enough team to finish top 10 in the NHL Draft rankings, and a lot of people would argue, hey, you straight up refused to get more points, Edler, by not passing it to Brock. This guy is one of the most electrifying players we have had on this team in a long time, and his power play growth is being stunted because he's never touching the puck. If you're a Montreal Canadiens fan watching this video, does that sound familiar? We need to talk about Jeff Petry today. And no, not today, because specifically he's actually been recalled from the lineup. Let's take a look at the update first and foremost from the Montreal Canadiens. Jeff Petry will not travel with the team to Nashville due to an upper body injury. Corey Schueneman has been recalled from Laval. Now, that in itself is a piece of news that we don't like to see. Of course, we want to see players being healthy. So, Jeff Petry, we're speaking of the best recovery possible here. Hopefully he goes out there and fixes himself up in time. But it's kind of funny because when this news was announced, when Jeff Petry was taken off of the Montreal Canadiens roster, a lot of Canadiens fans kind of had the same cynical viewpoint that I think everybody out here can fill in the blanks as to what that is. Well, the team just got better now, didn't they? And that viewpoint, it's tongue-in-cheek, it's sarcastic, obviously it's pretty cynical. It's highlighting the idea that Jeff Petry just really hasn't been himself this season, and he's displaying what I like to call the Alex Edler in 2017-2018 syndrome, because this guy, playing on a power play with Cole Caufield, that in which they've been paired together for quite a while now, he absolutely never passes it to Cole. And this was made even worse. You know, it was a small-ish kind of issue. Like, sure, the Canadiens kind of sucked in general, so they weren't going out there winning all too many games. Sure, Cole Caufield was going out there playing a little bit better than he had been earlier in the season, but at the same time, it's not like in 2017-2018 where Boeser was in the heat of the rookie race with Barzal and Clayton Keller, the Coyotes. That was a really big deal back then for Canucks fans, so seeing Boeser get robbed of getting points at every opportunity on the power play, that made it even worse. For Cole Caufield, he is not going to win the Calder this year, unfortunately. He is far out of that race, and Lucas Raymond seems to have it in the bag so far. Of course, that can change, but that's just the way things are right now. For Caufield, there isn't that same sense of urgency amongst Canadiens fans that I felt was there when Brock Boeser was getting denied passes from Edler back in the day. And now, for Caufield, it just got so bad that yesterday's game against the Colorado Avalanche was one of the worst when it came to this whole Jeff Petry-Cole Caufield dynamic on the man advantage. So many opportunities for Petry to pass it to a wide-open Caufield on the left. He stares him down for a little bit, and then just decides to take shots into the shin pads of the Avalanche players. Dude, this is not the same Jeff Petry that was going out there behind Shea Weber and being an absolute monster. This season, if we just look at the numbers right here, 42 points in 25 games last season. Sure, he only had 6 points in 20 games in the playoffs, but the playoffs were kind of a different animal. Everybody stopped scoring in the playoffs because the only ones that needed to score actually stepped up and scored. This team and the players on the team, hey, their roles were all significantly different come the postseason. This year, though, Petry has 2 assists in 25 games played. He is on pace for 4 points in 50 games, which would have been a career low. Okay, let's do the math over 82. 2 divided by 25, multiplied out by 82, Jeff Petry is on pace for a whopping 6.5 points on the year. That would be a career low since his 2010-2011 debut with the Oilers, wherein he scored 5 points. He has been playing so poorly this season that there's no way he hasn't been battling an injury this entire time, right? I mean, he was taken out of the lineup right now for an upper body injury. Hopefully that injury is something physical and not mental because, dude, this guy and the way he approaches the game, the style that he plays, it's just so different and it's so ineffective, especially as the top of the umbrella guy on the power play. It's been kind of weird, man, and hopefully we're going to go out there and see a bigger role given out to somebody like, let's say, a Mattias Norlinder, or let's see Cole Caufield actually not play on the fourth line. Believe me, there are so many other things wrong with the Montreal Canadiens right now and the way they're approaching their lineup, but I think the biggest concern has been that Jeff Petry position because just seeing him yesterday, dude. Yesterday, I think, was the breaking point for a lot of Canadiens fans, which is kind of why that jersey was thrown out there on the ice. Hey, you know, I'm not going to say that it's a bad thing to do that or it's a good thing to do that or whatever. You paid for the jersey, you paid for the ticket, you can do whatever you want. But, obviously, the emotions behind that kind of act are a lot more significant than just a casual, okay, you paid for it, so therefore you can do it kind of move. It hasn't happened in a very long time, if ever. I mean, everybody on the broadcast yesterday, when discussing the jersey thrown onto the ice, they were like, yeah, I don't remember the last time this happened. And who knows, if Jeff Petry just passing it to Caufield a little bit more could have resulted in a few more goals here and there that probably could have placated those desires. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this entire thing? Am I making an absolute mountain out of a molehill right here? Or is this a pretty warranted critique of Jeff Petry and his approach to the game? I personally think it's pretty fair, especially after living through the Brock Besser days in 2017-18, because as a Canucks fan who has literally experienced this before, I can understand that this is a super big deal in the minds of a lot of people, especially for those who are going out there looking for the development and the best positions possible for Cole Caufield, because, hey, you're not going to go out there and get yourself a super significant period of development on the power play if you're never getting the puck. If you're always just chasing rebounds that go off the shin pads of the opposite team. If you're always just going back to your own end trying to recuperate only for your unit to go off on a change. It's been so bad for Cole Caufield. And I know a lot of people would say, oh, he needs to create his own chances. He needs to earn that trust. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. What else is there for him to do? I mean, look at what he did last season in the playoffs. He was at half a point a game, 12 points, 20 games. We talk about how some Canadiens guys went out there like Deneau and Gallagher and they didn't score any points. Hey, guess what? Caufield scored points. And he was part of the reason the Canadiens even made it to the finals. So, yeah. If you're going to have both Petry and Caufield playing on the power play, which, of course, when Petry comes back, hopefully he recovers soon, do not put these two in the same unit. My goodness, if Petry is going to go out there just keep on taking shots that get blocked, then just get the second unit out there on the action. So, okay, that was a tongue-in-cheek kind of joke, but you get what I mean. Talk to me in the comments what do you think about the Canadiens and the way their power play has been running so far. I hope you enjoyed this. Rosén, and bye.